Hello, Mountain Ridge. Our team is back home safely from Uganda, and I have so many stories to tell you about how God worked in us. But one of the stories I wanted to share with you is how God multiplied our medications. Even before we left Phoenix for Uganda, we were aware that we might not have all the medications that we needed. We had to order our medicines from a local pharmacy in Uganda, and many of those medications were either back-ordered or out of stock. And so we headed there not even knowing if our medications would be there when we showed up. We started our first medical clinic, and we thought it would be okay that we could just be receiving our medicines right there and have time to go through them. But boy, were we in for a shock. Our first medical clinic, we saw 350 patients and used up what we felt to be about half of our supply of medications. At the end of that clinic, we all had a discussion about what are we going to do? How are we going to have enough medication to finish the rest of the week if this was supposed to be our easy clinic? And I even texted home to my mom and my children saying, please pray for our medications, because if our clinics keep going like this, we're going to run out. And we had a discussion that night about whether we should try to order more medication from the local pharmacy, or whether we were just going to trust God and let Him figure it out. And I think our conversation went something like, hey, let's just go bread and fish. Let's see what God's going to do, and let's let Him work it out. He knows what our needs are, and He knows the patients we're going to see. And so that's what we all decided to do. On our second clinic day, we were greeted by villagers waving tree branches and singing praises to God for our arrival. When we arrived in the village, we were met by 1,000 patients who had been waiting for 3 days for us to come and bring medical care. We saw as many patients as we could, and every patient that we saw was able to receive the medicine that they needed. On our third clinic day, the patients continued to pour in. And again, we were starting to be doubtful about whether we would have enough to finish our week. But one lady came to our clinic wearing this shirt. And it says, "A lunch packed by a mom, touched by God, becomes a miracle." How amazed we were. This was the exact confirmation that we needed from God, that He was going to provide for us and that we were in His will. We were just all in awe. On our fourth clinic day, it was our last day, and we had already seen 750 patients. We still had medicines left. And on that day, we just decided that, well, now we need to give them all away. And so we started giving every patient 4 or 5 prescriptions just so we could go through our medicine, but we could never give it all away. At the end of that day, our last day, and after 1,000 patients over the week, we still had 2 black trash bags full of medicines and supplies that we weren't ever able to use. Not only that, but we were only able to take with us 10 doses of malaria medicine. And over the course of the 4 days of clinic, we saw 25 cases of malaria, but every patient received the medicine that they needed. God was so good, and He was so faithful to us, and it taught all of us a lesson about just how God provides for us when you really depend on Him. Again, we have so many stories that we could tell you about our trip, and we hope to share those with you in the future. But the main thing is I just want to thank you, Mountain Ridge, for all of your financial contributions to the global impact. That is what we were able to use to purchase those medicines that God was able to multiply. Thank you.